Let's start off with discussions in Nigeria, where the scarcity of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, has continued to linger as frustrated Nigerians wait endlessly in queues trying to get the product. Another reflection of failed promises by the government and the institutions responsible, according to some. However, the question still lingers as to what exactly is the root cause of this roving issue. Could it be logistical, political bureaucratic bottlenecks, or just a few greedy deep pockets aiming to make their pockets more deeper? Now joining me on the program to make sense of this is Professor Yinka Omorogbe. She's a senior advocate of Nigeria, joining from Edo State. I also have on the program Chinedu Ukadike, is the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria's PRO, joining from Abuja. Thank you for your time, gentleman and lady. Great. Let me start off with you, Chinedu. I would read a press release by the NNPC about 3 days ago. They put it on their X handle. And the press release goes like this. NNPC Limited says cost of tightness in fuel supply resolved. I wish that could come up on the screen right now. That's the title of that press release. Now, according to them, the company says it wishes to clarify that the tightness in the supply of premium motor spirit currently being experienced in some areas across the country is as a result of logistical issues that has been resolved. Now, it also wishes to reiterate that the prices of the premium motor spirit is not changing. It urges Nigerians not to engage in panic buying. I just paraphrased there. My question to you is this. Now, looking at this press release, vis-a-vis the recent press conference your association held just, I think, yesterday, how do we make sense of this as Nigerians? Because they seem to contradict.
I don't think there is much contradiction in it. The most important thing is that there is an issue, and that issue is inadequate supply of petroleum products to most of our members. And since they have resolved their logistics problem, it will definitely, take some time for NNPCL to water the country with petroleum products. And also remember that most of these products are not being piped. They are being transported from one particular place to another. Some of them travel close to 600 kilometers. And you also remember that.
Okay, I think we lost connection there with Chinedu, but I would like to go to Professor Omorogbe. Thank you once again for joining me on the program. I would like to know your reaction to exactly what the NNPC has released just a few days back and what we are facing as Nigerians in terms of reality.
Well, thank you very much. I would say that whatever we're experiencing now and have been experiencing for some time is actually not surprising, because the fundamental problem is the one of a country that is one of the largest producers of petroleum, also being one of the largest importers of petroleum products. Then when you add to that the fact that we have deep issues as regards our ports, the functional state of our ports, and then you add to that the logistic infrastructure within Nigeria, and the fact that we don't have a good railway system, we have decrepit roads, a decrepit road network, and petroleum haulage and transportation is done purely by tankers. You can see that we have a dysfunctional system. And so disruptions and delays and all these different things are bound to happen. They are going to be a constant fixture until we deal with the very, very fundamental issues that have to do with our downstream sector. So it's not surprising.
It's not surprising, but I mean, this seems to be a, well, I call it recurring issue, particularly, in recent times. Almost every 2 weeks or every other month, Nigerians would, at some point, the supply is there, and then some point, you hardly can find it. You have to queue for long hours. What exactly, I know that you have extensive, experience within the energy sector. What would you consider the major root cause? Is it a policy problem entirely, or a situation where some individuals just want to maybe take advantage and, create a situation where they can make more money?
Well, like I've said, it's not a quick fix issue. I mean, in my earlier answer, I talked about things that are deeply fundamental. That is the logistics, the state of the ports. We still have ports where they pay constant demurrage. So we have those costs that are passed on to the consumer. We have bad road infrastructure. We have the major problem of being totally dependent on imports. And that's a big problem. If there are any issues as regards the major refineries that we have partnerships with, then we suffer at the end of the day. So we have these big problems. But I won't say that it's not recent. You're talking as if we're just experiencing scarcity. Scarcity has been the order of the day in Nigeria for a very long time, very long time. We have periods of scarcity, and then we have periods where we seem to have a cure, and then it comes back. So it has been so for years and years. It's time to actually fix the root causes, the very, very fundamental things that are leading to what we have right now in the Venezuela.
Okay, now just to pick up from what you said, you talked about logistical issues, you identified also the aspect of lack of infrastructure in terms of refineries and all of that. Now, there are speculations as regards the old talk, the Port Harcourt refinery, the Dangote refinery and all of that, with the belief that it would help sort of manage the situation, maybe even drop the price per liter. Do you also think that to a very large extent could be a solution?
Oh, of course. I mean, that will help to a great extent, but the petrol can go down to even ₦1. And if you have logistical issues, you won't get it. So there's no doubt that we have a huge problem because we, again, have had malfunctioning refineries for a very, very long time. And the NNPC has talked about turnaround maintenance for the whole of this century, starting from Jackson Obaseki in 1999. So we're kind of tired of hearing about that. So the good news is the major refinery that is there, which is Dangote refinery, the Walter Smith refinery, small ones like that, smaller ones like that. And of course, all the other ones we don't talk about. And those are the irregular refineries that we have all over the place that are nonetheless supplying the Nigerian market with products. So it's really a matter of supply and demand. That is what the issue is. I know that somehow you're trying to tie this to the price of petroleum or tie what is happening now to the removal of the subsidy, but everything that's happening now was happening before the subsidy was removed.
So are you saying the subsidy removal has been touted by many, seeing it as a major impact to what is happening? The subsidy removal, are you saying that it has not so much impact, in terms of the scarcity right now?
Yes, I am. I'm saying so that I don't really think that that is the problem. When you're dealing with things that are infrastructural and logistical, I don't really think so. I also think that if people will look and see, before the subsidy, were we already paying the pump price? In some places far away from Lagos and Ibadan, Lagos and Abuja, people were paying considerably more than whatever the pump price was. The subsidy was inefficient, it was imperfect, it benefited only a few, it did not benefit Nigeria. The subsidy is not what is causing this problem. The problems here are deep. They're deep, they are fundamental, and they are what need to be looked after. Like I've said, if you get ₦1 a liter and you can't get it to you, you will still have issues. Or if the refineries abroad can't get it to you for whatever reason, they have their issues. And unlike us, abroad in Western countries and in countries that know the value of energy, they supply the domestic market first. That is the first issue for them.
All right. Let me, of course, leave you just for a moment. Let's move to Chinedu right now. Chinedu, I understand that you're back with us. You, in your recent press brief, you talked about bureaucratic bottlenecks being one of the major, factors that, of course, is contributing to the scarcity that we're seeing. Would you like to sort of expatiate more on that?
Yeah. Well, when NNPCL said they have stock for independent marketers, like I said earlier on, you will find out that these products are being imported. The depots, the private depots and other depots they use are all located along the coastal area. And those coastal areas, somewhere like Apapa, that have a lot of brick block of vehicles. Sometimes vehicles spend like a week, 2 weeks before they can be able to access the loading island of some of these depots. And they also take another extra 4 or 5 days before they can be cleared out to start traveling to their destination. And you also know that these trucks travel from the wet area to the dry area. There is no ports around Kanu, Kaduna, Medugri, and not the rest of them. So these trucks move close to 600 and something kilometers to be able to discharge, which is a journey that takes close to 3 to 4 or 5 days, depending on the strength of the truck. And you also remember that recently there was a fire outbreak just because of bad roads. So those drivers are very, very careful. A journey that might take them only 2 days, it will take them like close to 4 or 5 days. So I don't see any realistic thing at all when we made in our press statement that once there is a gap, once there is a break in the chain of distribution, you will find out this lacuna. And that lacuna is that within that period of time, the process of getting fuel into the country will take some period of time because we are able to dispatch our trucks.
But I'm sorry to cut in here. I mean, Nigerians are pretty much used to, well, I call it many of this, permit me to use the word excuses, right? I mean, why is there no solution till now? Why is it that virtually almost every other week or every other month, this issue still comes up? And it's almost the same reasons. Even though we hear that meetings are held, these issues are resolved, yet every other week you see queues again, surface, and it's another, permit me to use the word story. Why?
One of my press release, when I called on President Mohamed Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in our refineries and our pipelines, I made it very, very clear that most of our pipelines are obsolete, and those pipelines have been abandoned for so many years. These are the only things that can be able to quickly sell products. If our pipelines are working, why is the truck traveling almost 3, 4, 5 days to get product to Aba depot, Yola depot, a lorry depot, and not the rest of them? So our pipelines are bad. A lot of vendors are feasting on those pipelines, and you see, some security agencies are not doing little or much, to protect those pipelines so that the government can use those pipelines to transport petroleum products.
You said security agencies can do little or not so much to protect the pipelines. Are you also linking?
The government have not done anything at all. If we have two security agencies, because if federal government can be able to contract the issue of guiding the pipeline to an individual, the Navy, these are statutory agencies that are supposed to ensure that our crude oil gets to its destination. Well, you're not talking about the local pipelines here. Those local governments have been perforated, and security agencies.
Okay, I think we lost Chinedu there due to connection errors, but we of course would have him back once we are able to connect. Let me go back to Professor Omorogbe. Professor, I mean, Chinedu said quite a number of issues, one of which for me I think stuck out is the issue of oil theft, pipeline security and all of that. You talked about infrastructural deficit. This particular issue of theft has come up over and over, and the current administration has, to some extent, even boasted to say, you know what, we've been able to record some level of success or progress in ensuring that many of these issues are nipped in the bud. Do you think that oil theft really is also a contributor to the issues we see on ground?
I'd say yes. Even as I answer you and say that, you probably missed the fact that he talked about poor pipeline networks, which is also part of the problem. So where you have decrepit pipelines that are not too functional, that is also an issue. And of course, such pipelines, you will assume, are maybe not strong enough, so their integrity might have been compromised to an extent. But yes, the question of oil theft is a problem. But to the best of my knowledge, oil theft is far more of an upstream than a downstream issue. To the best of my knowledge, it is crude that is primarily stolen, not products. Products are refined irregularly in the alternative refineries all over the Niger Delta. And I think that is maybe a bigger issue than the issue of crude theft when you're talking about supplying the domestic demand. So it is a big issue when you're talking about the energy sector as a whole. But I will still go back and say that a lot of the things, like he talks about poor pipeline network, he talked about importation bottlenecks. Why are there importation bottlenecks? What makes a port congested so that demurrage is actually a factor when you're talking about bringing in something that's needed? That's another huge infrastructural problem as well. Infrastructure management. So you can't, you have security, but you have poor pipelines, you have importation issues, bottlenecks. What's causing that?
So, I mean, that brings me to the question of policy initiative in terms of addressing many of these issues. Part of the issues you also highlighted in this press release is license renewal being slow. I would just want you to speak on that.
Yeah, I guess, again, that's an issue. I mean, it would be good since we need products so much. And we need them. It is good for the renewal process.
But don't you think there are aspects of the law that can actually sort of override this and ensure that, I mean, maybe situations...
It's not aspects of the law. It is implementation. You will find that within the Petroleum Industry Act, generally speaking, once you have met the requirements for anything, you should be granted whatever it is that you have requested. Throughout, that is a general principle. And that is what is normally done in good regulation. So we have to look and see why there is a bottleneck, what is causing that. But again, I'm sorry, I'm so into fundamentals. Why are we so dependent on imported products? You wouldn't need that marketer's license in the same way if you had enough functional refineries here, like all other countries.
All right, Professor Omorogbe, let me just leave you for a moment. Let me go back to Chinedu. I understand that we have him back. Chinedu, in your press release, you actually said fuel scarcity may last for 2 more weeks. That doesn't look good for Nigerians.
No, I didn't say it will last. I said it will take 2 good weeks to be able to, work the country again with petroleum product. It is a process. It's not just that NNPCs have received a vessel today, and by the time you wake up the next morning, there are fuel in all the villages. Just no, it's not. It doesn't work that way. Those trucks will definitely go to the depots, and they will definitely load. And most of them will travel 300 to 640 kilometers, some 500 and some 400 and something kilometers to their destinations.
So Chinedu, are you saying that in all of this, I'm sorry to cut in, are you saying in all of this, there are no situations, because I've not, in everything you've described, you seem to more of push the blame towards the aspect of the government and also the NNPC. Are you saying in all of this, there are no independent marketers out there who are creating artificial scarcity in order to rake in more money?
Well, I don't understand what you mean by artificial scarcity. We're independent marketers. We build our filling stations to be able to make profits and also be able to make profit.
And maybe I should use the word abnormal profit.
Through, you make profit via regular sales. You don't have one truck, and after like 3 months or 2 months or 1 week, you'll be waiting to get another truck. It's turnover. Business is not about turnover. You can remember when there is adequate supply of petroleum product. Even when you go to the filling station, they clean your glasses, they wash your vehicle, some of the pump attendants will dance for you. So we do everything to be able to increase to sustain our brand and increase our volume. And I still want to let you know that since after the removal of subsidy. We are trading with a very huge capital. Products that will cost around 8.1 million naira, well, we're buying at 5 million. So we're buying at 30 million, 60 million naira. So there is no way an independent marketer will have petroleum product in his time. And he refused to sell because he wants to turn around. The bank is on you. Once you know they are where you have loaded, and they'll be expecting that you make your deposit so that they can be able to give you money to go back and buy again. So the issue of holding petroleum product or trying to profit petroleum product does not arise. Once there is sufficient product, I still want to tell you that we will be sell below NNPC.
I mean, you talked about subsidy removal, but then again, there are contrary reports that it's still being paid. Can you confirm that?
Well, I will say that it's like we're experiencing kind of quasi-subsidy. I don't think that subsidy have totally been removed, because if you look at what the GMD of NNPC said, that petroleum products will be determined by the exchange rate, the forex, the trending exchange rate. You understand? That would be the yardstick, to be able to determine the petroleum products. And as at that time, product was moved to 500 something naira, and the dollar was still around 600, 500. From now, dollar is 750. From 750, dollar is 1,000 something. So my ratio arithmetic, I'm not good in mathematics, will also let me know that that product that was pegged at 500 something naira, by now, if dollar should be around 1,000 something, should have moved up. So where are government getting money to be able to subsidize the vacuum, which was created by the dollar differentials? So that is my only. So I believe that government, in a way, is doing what we call quasi-subsidy. So don't allow the people suffer because of the cost of inflation. The economy is nosediving, and things are being inflected. Also knowing that oil and gas drive the economy of this country. So both those in the market and everyone is playing the chain reaction. Once fuel goes up, bread goes up, sugar goes up, dairy goes up, anything in the commodity, even essential commodity goes up. Well, even imported products also go up because one, the dollar is going up. So they would not have the mechanism of bringing all this down. That's the problem. So in the simple arithmetic, you don't even need somebody to tell you, or a soothsayer or a prophet or an imam to tell you that dollar is 1,150 or to 1,300.
Okay.
So and product was spent at 600 and something naira when dollar was 750 naira. So what is the magic? I mean, someone is somewhere not telling anybody the truth.
All right, Chinedu. I mean, just before we close on this first half of the program, my last question to you is this. Now, there are also talks that once the local refineries start working, I'm talking about the Petrol refinery, for instance, and also the privately owned refinery by Dangote starts working, we might just see a price, of the premium motor spirit and even other, of course, fuel, like we're seeing with diesel, drop. Should Nigerians see that happening? Should we have local refineries, refining the produce? Chinedu, are you there?
Also, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we lost you for a while. Yes.
Yeah, are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, as it's very important at this particular time to thank Mr. President and the MD of Petrol Refinery, because I was there. The MD is doing a very, very good job, and they're working tirelessly. And I believe with the time phase I set for himself, the Petrol Refinery, by special growth of God, will be on boiling stream before the end of the end of June, July, and because I think that area 5 is set. Now the refining of Dangote AGO has also brought down the price of AGOs. You can remember that the AGO was characterized to 1,600, even going to 1,700 when Dangote came in and reduced the price. Most importers, and the dollar was also crashing. Most importers have also decided to slow down and look at the dollar rate to be able to bring in diesel for all of us. So I believe that more than refineries in this country, if they will sell their products in naira, it will be able to help us. Because when you look at the forest exchange, and you look at the cost of clearing hundreds of them, NIMASA, all this money are being paid in dollars. And while we are in Naira, these are the things that are putting pressure on our Naira and causing inflation in this country. So we have to take a holistic look at all these problems so that the independent marketers will survive. I also want to let you know that if you visit some of our filling stations now, most of them are beer apologies and all the rest of them because they cannot be able to cope up with the challenging rigors of what is happening in the distribution chain. So I believe that with Dangote and some other Edo refinery, Adra refinery, and then.
All right. All right, Chinedu, I think we lost you there, your connection there. But many thanks for joining. Just before I also let you go, Professor Omorogbe, in one word or in 30 seconds, what do you think or what do you suggest that the government can do, within the shortest possible time to sort of mediate this particular problem?
Short-term fix. I don't know what short-term fix I can think about. I guess get the marketers' licenses out speedily, come in and mediate. But for us to get rid of whatever it is we're talking about, we need to ensure that the government fixes the sector so that the right actors are playing their roles, so that the downstream is actually really being managed by the authority, and so that all the infrastructural problems and problems of decrepit bad refineries, bad pipelines, demurrage, hot jams are gone. So it's really not a quick fix issue anymore. A quick fix will just simply give you short-term solution.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Professor Yinka Omorogbe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria from Edo State, and also Chinedu Ukadike, IPMAN PRO from Abuja, IPMAN being the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Once again, a gentleman and lady, thank you so much.